Hi, I'm Roman Garms, and I'm here to talk about networks. One of the networks I want to cover today is the road network, as we've got here. Unlike any of the other networks we've talked about, road networks intersect a lot. We've got intersections constantly, and those lead to traffic. And while you can avoid it somewhat with stuff like overpasses and tunnels and whatnot, there's only so much you can do. It doesn't make sense to have every single road work like that. And so you're going to wind up with a lot of traffic. This means long travel times. So we talked a little bit about roads and how they matter. Now you can improve a lot of intersections, but some you'll find are a little bit trickier to resolve. Let's take a look at an intersection in Santa Cruz that I run into at least once a week. So we got this intersection right here. Now if we look at this intersection, there's a lot going on. We've got two-way traffic coming in from here. We've got two-way traffic going in from there. We've got weirdly one-way, two-way, down to one-way, and now another two-way intersection and another two-way intersection. This is a mess. There's no good way to fix this. A lot of this issue comes from Santa Cruz's general road layout. If you look at it on a map, you'll notice that there isn't a very clear, consistent grid to it. If you look at, certain neighborhoods, you'll see that sometimes there is a grid for a bit, but it won't line up with other neighborhoods and nothing sort of comes together. Alternatively, if you look at a city that I think does this a little bit better, let's take Seattle because I know that well, you'll see that there's a very consistent grid to it. This is great for a number of reasons, one of which is intersections are clear, it's easy to make them, the lighting, timing has been sorted out, but also this just means that to get to your destination, you're making less turns. You can get to most any place with about 2 turns. Knowing this alone isn't all that you need though. We know that the issue with Santa Cruz is that there's a lack of a grid, but at the same time, it's too late to correct it because at this point, all the houses and the stores have been built. You can't bulldoze those to fix the roads. So, what can we do? Now, the obvious solution is public transportation. But if you think about it, Santa Cruz already has public transportation. We have buses. And we still have this problem with traffic and getting around. So why is that? Well, Santa Cruz buses have a few issues. They don't get used enough, for one. They get caught in traffic, and so they're slow, which means people don't want to take the bus, and then that means they take their car instead, which leads to more traffic, and the bus is getting less money, getting even more slow and caught in traffic. So that's no good. Additionally, most recently, in this last year, the Santa Cruz Metro announced that they were planning, on 15-minute service, new routes, bus priority traffic signals, and a whole bunch of other stuff. This got canceled late December last year because the Santa Cruz Metro realized they did not have enough functional buses to deliver this new promise. And now this, upgrade has been postponed to whenever the Santa Cruz Metro has enough functional buses to complete this upgrade. Okay, so how else can you improve buses? The obvious answer is more buses or designated bus lanes. This would do wonders because now your buses can arrive more often, have their own lanes so they don't get caught in traffic, and generally just have more frequent service. Unfortunately, the Santa Cruz Metro doesn't have the money to make stuff like that happen. So what can you do? You can make a lot of smaller tweaks instead. One of the main things that slows buses down is the time spent at each bus stop. A lot of this wasted time comes from how long it takes to pay your bus fare at the entrance of the bus. You can speed this up by only accepting bus fare through tap cards and mobile apps, rather than actually offering cash and change at the front of the bus. In fact, you can even optimize this further. On some bus systems, such as the Rapid Ride in Seattle, Washington, you can even tap your bus card at the stop, rather than on the bus, improving boarding time even more. Another thing you can do, which doesn't even require any additional hardware or anything else, is setting rules for boarding and disembarking the bus. If you only allow people to board at the front of the bus and leave at the rear of the bus, you can both board the bus and disembark the bus at the same time, greatly reducing time spent at the bus stop. I'm sure you've spent time trying to hop on the bus on Santa Cruz campus and had to wait for people to disembark the bus from the front doors before you could even begin to get on the bus. Beyond this, the next main improvement is increasing bus speed. And no, I don't mean literally just driving faster. Long bus routes cause a lot of issues with bus timing. Long routes have a lot of opportunity for traffic or long bus stops or whatnot to slow down the buses. This means that the faster second bus will catch up with the slowed first bus that got caught in traffic and had long bus stops. Now you've got 2 buses showing up at stops at about the same time. The second bus is picking up almost 0 passengers since the first bus has them already. You can improve bus speed by using shorter bus routes rather than the regular long ones. Less distance and less stops mean traffic will have a lesser impact on bus times. And yes, while this does mean that taking the bus will require more transfers because each route goes a shorter distance, the consistent bus timing should more than make up for that. To supplement these shorter routes, if you do truly need to get further, it's worth also looking into express bus lines that do have these longer routes but make far less stops, so they're still much more predictable and easier to compensate for in terms of timing. One of the last things to consider is using trains rather than buses or other road-based transit systems. And while this is indeed a lot better for a variety of reasons, you're getting more people off the roads. The cost of running a railway is much cheaper than that of running a busway. Steel wheels on rails is much cheaper than rubber on roads, which wear down faster, require replacement, and all sorts of things like that. However, the cost to install a railway is always much higher. And at least in the case of Santa Cruz, we already have a bus system. It'll be much cheaper to invest further in that rather than to build an entirely new system. So with that in mind, I'm a car enthusiast and I still want public transportation to be better. It's got a lot of advantages to me too. Good public transportation means less traffic on the roads, less CO2 emissions, and you could have a much cheaper commute to work or school.